According to the Central Bureau for the Statistiek, the biggest reason non-EU EFTA migrants move to the Netherlands is to reunite with their families. In 2023, 41,575 people made that journey. In this video, I'm going to share our personal journey from Ghana to the Netherlands, detailing the steps we took to successfully relocate to the Netherlands. Hi, my name is Kwame. If you're new here, and you're welcome. And yes, the reason for our leaving Ghana, as mentioned in one of my previous videos, was a mutual agreement my partner and I had made to live in either of our home countries for different periods of time. With opportunities come new sets of challenges, and these are the steps I'm going to outline in detail in this particular video. And I mean everything we did in the process, to the hurdles we faced and how we overcame them. If you're interested in also pursuing that journey of relocating or knowing what it takes, then I suggest you stick around. The first thing we did after making a decision to move was to immediately start researching. Now, remember that research will be the foundation of everything you do. Without it, your plans will lack structure or depth, and you'll be opening yourself up to more surprises.
No surprises!
Now, this happened to us a few years prior during the registration of our marriage in the Netherlands, where we were required to notarize original copies of our documents. And the thing is, we didn't probe what original really meant, and we made colored photocopies of our original documents. Yeah, it got bounced. What we were required to do was apply for certified original copies from all the institutions which gave us the documents. So yeah, we made a note. Ask questions like you're a curious child. Verify everything. Our preliminary research covered these questions. How much will it cost us? Under that, we have the housing, the utilities, daily upkeep, daycare costs, insurance, travel costs. The next question was, how much do we currently have? How long will it take us to save up? What will the immigration process look like? And finally, considering all these, what were the realistic timelines? Now, I need to mention that 2 years before this, in 2022, my partner had just started a new job with an international organization. Now, the fact that they had offices and partners worldwide, including the Netherlands, provided us with some opportunity to explore that in that regard. Sources of information for research also included people in our immediate community who had made the move from Ghana to the Netherlands. These were also Dutch citizens with Ghanaian partners, so it was easier to compare because it was a similar situation.
That is what we're doing, isn't it?
Depending on your income, this may take either longer or shorter to achieve. While saving based on our preliminary research, the world was also still happening. So in our case, the worse the city got versus the rising cost of living in the Netherlands meant that we were constantly adjusting and readjusting how much we needed to save or have. For example, if something would cost 1,500 euros per month, we looked at it with the inflation in mind and considered it as a 1,800 to 2,000 euro cost. This savings process is also running through the duration of your decision till the very final day you leave and beyond. You are not going to stop needing money. So yeah, when we look at the major costs we needed to save for at least 6 months, then this is how the math looked like. Rent and utilities, upkeep, insurance, daycare costs, travel costs, and well, unforeseen circumstances, also known as miscellaneous. Besides savings, we also needed to look at the current assets we lived with in our house or home. Our furniture, our appliances, the car, and other things of value that we could sell to increase our buffer when the time came. In order to make your plans more concrete and achievable, setting timelines will keep you in check. The main timeline for us was the departure time, for which we gave an allowance of 1 to 3 months for unforeseen circumstances that could sidetrack our plans. It was important to get us both strict in our actions yet flexible in our overall outlook to avoid any headaches that may arise because of the expectations and limitations we impose on ourselves. And of course, when there's a newborn who happens to be your first child involved, then yeah, you have to be even more patient. The immigration process and options were mostly for me, since my son and my partner are both Dutch citizens. We looked at all the necessary requirements on the ENDA website and their costs involved and discovered that if I were to be joining my partner under the family reunification law, I would need to write a Dutch language exam, which can only be written or done in your country of residence or a neighboring country if it wasn't available there. This is the Dutch Basic A1 exam. Upon passing this, certificates will be issued to apply for what is called the MVV visa, which allows you to stay more than the normal 90-day period when you have a usual or normal tourist visa. But we had a little challenge. In order to join your partner, they must already be living in the Netherlands, and the MVV application after passing that A1 exam takes up to 3 months to be approved. That is, if it would be.
Yikes.
Now the issue is, we didn't want to be separated when we moved because I am a freelancer and it will be easier to be the primary caretaker of our son while my partner went to the office as she normally would. There was no way that she would take on combining both by herself before I joined. So back to point one, more research to find the best option where all of us could go together. So after asking around, we came up with an alternative. However, to navigate this alternative, it will be best to employ the services of an immigration lawyer, introducing a new cost element. At this point, we had already set a plan in motion to write the A1 exam, so I proceeded to do my paid online courses and registered for the exam. If your situation is proving complex and you can afford it, employ the services of an immigration lawyer. You will need all the help you can get. We contacted the immigration lawyer and he advised we go the route of the European immigration law, which allows a parent of a child who is an EU national to make a convincing case why they would be allowed to stay with them. He also mentioned that it was one of the complex and long processes, but for our case, it was the best way to travel if we were to go all together.
That is what we're doing, isn't it?
I wrote my Dutch A1 exam and sat tight. After a few weeks, I got the news that I had passed, which was such a relief. This is the point where you have to make sure that you have all your documents in check. Check the expiry dates of all your travel documents especially, and this is also in relation to how close to the departure timeline it is to expiry. I should also mention that this process works simultaneously with the research process and almost never stops. If you've done any traveling abroad, you already know that the travel process is like a V12 engine for the need for documentation. It's a documents guzzler. This means that if you're bad at organizing important documents all the way to receipts for official processes and non-official ones, then start making it an important practice.
Write that down.
Since we traveled a few times to the Netherlands and even had our son over there while we still lived in Ghana, we have a docket for this purpose and it always comes in handy. When using an immigration lawyer, they would give you a list of documents that you will be required to share with them to make a case on your behalf. The easier it is to get these documents for them, the less work they have to do to prove why you deserve to be granted a stay, and the less work means that less hours, and then less hours means less expensive. You know the math.
Got it.
We gathered the ones in our possession and requested way ahead of time for the official ones like hospital records and testimonials so that we will have them when the time came. And I don't even want to go into the fact that even though we did all this, some of the documents still came in last minute. It's stressful. It's really stressful getting stuff from Ghanaian institutions. When we were certain of our whens and hows enough, we started informing the people we wanted to inform. And I have to say though, that this is very subjective. For us, we had people who even knew from the idea stage and others we thought only needed to know when the exit was already confirmed. And I know it's common practice not to tell anyone anything, especially when it comes to travel outside the country. So yeah, you decide. One of the important people that we had to tell for us was giving prior notice to our landlord, especially when we knew in late December 2023, when our rent would expire, that we wouldn't need to renew for another year. Luckily for us, he was extremely understanding, so that made it easier for us to just renew for only 6 months in 2024. Since the move was permanent or at least long-term, we had to sell. So what we did about 2 months to the time was to make a catalog of everything for sale. This catalog was first shared with our friends and family who knew people who would be interested in items and didn't need them immediately. That way, people can make purchases and reservations for later. And one of the things that I still can't get over is how lucky we were with this. When the time came for the main sale, Elaine used her WhatsApp community and network to make sales, and within a week, almost everything was gone, even to the point where the house was becoming empty while we were still there. But just when it all seemed too good to be true, our last and perhaps the most expensive item, which was our car, was not getting the buyers we wanted.
We're not gonna make it.
With about 10 days left to leave, we still hadn't gotten a buyer until one morning, one of the expat platforms, a lady reached out to Elaine. Their family were in need of exactly a car like that and was right in their budget. They immediately came to inspect it, went home and gave it some thought, made a decision, and that's how we were finally able to hand over literally a day before our flight. As a filmmaker, I also made a list of items that were absolute necessities I can fly with, and sold the bigger items that I can repurchase when I'm in the Netherlands, and that went pretty smoothly as well. Our family and friends were extremely helpful and hands-on with helping us pack and move things, and of course, going with us to the airport. We went a little earlier than usual because we were flying during a peak season and a time of day as well. At the airport, we discovered that our items were severely overweight, so frantically we redistributed them, feeling all accomplished until we got to the gates. We discovered that the baggage allowance for a toddler was not 23 kg, so we ended up paying a fine for extra luggage. But yeah, that wasn't fun. And so I have to say that after months of preparation, saving and gathering documents, the defining moment finally arrived. The relief was overwhelming because it meant that our plan to move as a family was officially happening. But the real moment of truth came when we finally landed in the Netherlands. Stepping off that plane, there was that instant realization that this was more than just a trip at this point. It was the start of a completely new life. Despite all the unknowns, one thing was certain. We had successfully navigated one of the most challenging transitions of our lives, and now it was time to embrace the journey ahead. Looking back, moving from Ghana to the Netherlands was an intense but rewarding experience. It required careful research, strategic financial planning, and patience in handling immigration or the immigration process. Every relocation journey is unique, but with the right preparation and mindset, it can be a smoother experience.
I'm tired, boss.
Are you considering moving to the Netherlands or another country, or have you already been through a similar journey? Share your experiences or questions in a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to know how I feel about the Netherlands 6 months later, you can check out this video right here.